What's going on, guys? It's your boy Sierato back at you one more time again. I know it's been a minute since I put my last video up, but like I told you guys, I was taking a little bit of a siesta, a little bit of a break. Just trying to recoup, do some new content, give you guys something different to watch nowadays. So we're gonna do a full actual tutorial. I haven't actually done a whole tutorial so far. I've showed you kind of like how to do it, but I haven't actually explained step by step by step. So for this one, we're gonna explain step by step on this heat press method. Now this is something I've seen a couple of other customizers do here and there, and I really had an interest in it because I get a lot of requests for like Kobe portraits and think Nipsey portraits and things of that nature, Pop Smoke, and stuff like that. Really takes a long time to actually paint, and most people are going to be just as happy with a heat press, and it takes a split second comparing to actually painting it. So we're gonna go ahead and show you exactly how to do that. I think it's gonna be dope. And also stay tuned because this video is sponsored by my guys over at Fiverr, and they're actually gonna raffle these bad boys off too. Stay tuned for the info on that. I'll have it for you. Now first, I'm gonna actually show you each piece that you're gonna need to make this happen, and surprisingly, it's not a lot. Everything you need is readily available on Amazon. I'll put the links in the description down below. But even if you don't have Amazon, I picked everything up literally today. I just went around and went to Joann's Fabrics and they had everything you needed basically. So between Joann's, maybe a Home Depot, something like that, you're gonna find everything you need and be good to go. So let's take a look. So first you're gonna need our quick fuse iron-on fabric sheets. Now these work specifically for inkjet printers only, and actually for best results I'm gonna recommend that you get a photo quality printer. You're gonna get a better result, a better image, and it's gonna look a lot clearer on the actual fabric when you print it. Then you're gonna need a mini iron. I have a Clover one here that I got from Joann's Fabrics, and it was pretty cheap. It was maybe like 20 bucks, something like that. And it works as basically like a regular iron, and it's gonna allow you to stick these fabric sheets to your shoes or any other surface that you want to apply them to. Then we're gonna need our pressing cloth, and this is gonna allow you to actually kind of save some of the more sensitive areas of the shoes, like a suede shoe or anything like that that you don't want to burn or apply too much heat directly to. You can lay this cloth in between the iron and your fabric sheets, and this will basically save you some worry later. Then you're going to need a simple heat gun. This is exactly what I use for all my other customs, obviously, as you can see here, and you can get this from any Home Depot or any hardware store, but it does have to be a heat gun. It cannot be a hair dryer because hair dryers will not get hot enough to actually fuse the glue on the back of the fabric sheets. And last but not least, you just need some denatured alcohol and maybe some acetone just to actually clean off the surface of your shoe and prep it before you try to stick the adhesives on. But first, before we actually use any of these items, we're gonna actually send these shoes off to my guy Dery. He's actually known as All Shoes Matter on Instagram. I'll put his tag up here so you guys can go check him out. And he's gonna put a dope screen on the shoes for me that's gonna show Kobe footage, like Kobe dunk reel, Kobe MJ shot comparison, because that's Kobe's guy. So we want to make sure we put on things that are important to him as well in the shoe as we're time lapsing his career. So I think it's gonna look dope. Alright, so now we got the shoes back and I'm in the studio ready to work. It's time to go ahead and get on the computer and find all of our Kobe reference images that we're going to actually print onto our fabric sheets. Then once we found all of our images, we're going to go ahead and drop each one of them individually into Photoshop, and we're going to cut out all the backgrounds and make them transparent PNGs, and this is going to allow us to resize them, fit them all on one sheet on Photoshop so we know exactly the dimensions of our fabric transfer sheet. That would be 8.5 by 11 inches, and once we have all of our different Kobe pictures, we're going to put them on the sheet, print it out. When you're resizing these sheets, however, you're going to want to make sure you get a ruler and you actually measure the section of your shoe that you're doing. That will ensure that the piece that you print will actually be the right size that you want, because these fabric sheets are actually pretty expensive individually. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and use blue masking tape to actually write off each individual spot that I'm going to put these Kobe pieces at. Because we printed out so many, I don't want to get confused later. Now let's go ahead and print these out. Okay, now we got our images printed. You're gonna notice that the fabric sheet is actually pretty flexible. It feels like fabric. So you're gonna need to hold these tight when you're cutting to make sure you get clean cuts around the edges, and you're gonna get as close to the skin as you can get. I think that gives you a better look than trying to leave a white border unless you're doing logos. And now we've got all of our KOBES cut out. We're gonna go ahead and start applying them one by one in each of the designated areas on the shoe. We're gonna be using our mini iron very carefully, sparingly, and you're just gonna kind of touch it just enough to get it to stick to the shoe, and then you're gonna use your heat gun later to actually seal it permanently. You're going to want to make sure you're careful when doing edges and corners of the shoe to make sure you, one, don't burn the other parts of the shoe like midsoles and stuff that are usually more spongy, but also to make sure you don't put wrinkles into your pieces when you're laying them around the edges. And that's pretty much all there is to heat pressing. So now once we finish this, we're going to move on to our airbrush section of the shoe. So first, to start airbrushing, we're going to need to figure out what we're going to put on the shoe, and we're also going to need to grab our stencils. Now to cut these stencils, I use a Silhouette Cameo 3. I also use a Silhouette cutting mat and Oracle vinyl sheets. Now we're going to stick our vinyl sheet onto our cutting mat, shiny side up. Make sure it's firmly pressed down with no air bubbles showing. And we're going to go ahead and feed it into our Silhouette Cameo 3 and then hop back on the computer and start to design our stencils. We're going to go ahead and trace each image we found and make sure that they're all prepped and ready to go to actually cut. We're also going to make sure they're resized to fit each individual section of the shoe. Then we're going to double check our settings, head over to the cut page, make sure cut is selected, make sure our actual blade depth is correct, and make sure the speed isn't too fast where it's going to mangle the stencil. And then we're going to go ahead, plug our printer in, and make sure it starts cutting. Alright, now we got all of our stencils cut out individually. We're going to go ahead and start placing them on the shoe. We're going to grab our stencil transfer sheets and we're going to actually stick them on over top. We're going to make sure we smooth out all the air bubbles so it applies easily, and then remove it very carefully while pinching and pulling each section. Then we just repeat the process for each stencil and paint as you guys normally see me do. And once we're done with this, we're going to go ahead and finish the shoe up with some hang tags. So I'm going to grab my thermal laminating pouches and get started on that. I'm also going to need to grab my Fellows 3i95 laminator to actually make the tags. Then I'm going to grab my computer to actually print these images out, which you could do on regular printer paper, and then just cut them out. So now I'm going to grab my 5mm thermal pouches. I like to use 5 instead of 3mm because it comes off thicker, it looks more professional. I'm going to cut the laminating pouches to fit each image, that way I'm not wasting it. And then I'm going to go ahead and sign the back of each hang tag and seal it with the laminator. So I'm going to go and slide them in between the sheets and then just feed it into the machine. Then I'm gonna go ahead and just cut around the edges, leaving a small edge to make sure it stays sealed, and then use the hole punch I have here to poke the hole for the chain. Then I just need to sign the box, take the rest of the tape off, and put the laces in. So let's let you guys take a look at them. And that's about it for me on this video here. So comment down below your favorite part of the video, and also comment any suggestions you have for any new videos or any new tutorials that you want a full walkthrough on. We can start doing those as well. And you know, it'll really help me out if you guys hit the like button for me. You know what to do. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. And again, big shout out to Fiverr for sponsoring this video and for setting up the contest where you can actually enter to win these shoes. I put a link in my description so where you guys can go ahead and click it and head over to Fiverr to check them out, and then head over to my Instagram to actually enter the contest. Good luck to all of y'all, and I'll catch you on the next video.